stamping, and you get a lot more bonus links. I post all the links into the Facebook group and not onto YouTube. So, all right, we're live. So here we go. The simultaneous squeeze is now. Okay, cool. So welcome everybody. We're going to be talking about the vagus nerve and its role in digestion. Very important subject. But before we do that, we're going to do our simultaneous squeeze. So you know the drill. We're going to take a deep breath in, hold that breath, squeeze it in for 5 seconds, and then exhale for 5 seconds. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Sip of air at the top. Hold and squeeze. And slowly exhale. Good. Okay, great. That's it. That's simple. That boosts your vagus nerve. That gets you access to a lot of your memory centers when you do that. So it's a great way to learn by starting with that simultaneous squeeze. And learn is definitely something that we're going to be doing today. So, like I talked about a little bit earlier, the main subject of today is certainly going to cover some pretty important things for everybody who is alive, basically. We're going to talk first about the vagus nerve and its role in digestion. We're going to explore the benefits of a mainly plant-based diet. That's going to be a primary area of focus for us today. So as far as that goes, the key things to know is obviously when we're talking about the body and digestion, we know that it's a very complex system that we're dealing with. And there are various organs involved. Obviously, your tongue, your mouth, your salivary glands help to chew food. Your esophagus is part of the picture as food goes down into your stomach. Your pancreas produces digestive enzymes, and then all that food gets processed through your small intestine to your large intestine, down to your colon, and then out of you. So it's a very complex system, but keeping your nervous system in good standing, so to speak, is really crucial so that food can maintain its journey throughout. So one such nerve plays a crucial role in digestion, and that nerve is called the vagus nerve. It's often referred to as the wandering nerve. In Latin, vagus means wanderer. It's no joke. It's no mistake that it has that name because the vagus nerve wanders down your neck on the left side and the right side and goes all throughout your entire body. Look up a picture. It's pretty amazing. And the vagus nerve is the longest of the cranial nerves in your body. It connects the brain to several vital organs, including your heart, your lungs, and especially your gastrointestinal tract. So very important nerve that we're dealing with for sure. Now, so that's basically certainly kind of the primary understanding that we want to get in line with here, of course, with the vagus nerve. However, there are a number of ways that you can eat in order to, have a better vagus nerve. But first, we want to talk about vagus nerve and its role in digestion particularly. So the vagus nerve does act as a communication highway between the brain and the digestive system. A lot of people are learning more and more. I think the learning probably happened between 5 to 10 to 15 years ago. This big craze about the gut-brain axis. The brain connecting to the gut and both of them interacting with each other. Very important network with a pretty important system that's happening there. However, one thing that they're missing is the vagus nerve from that term. I think that the gut-brain axis should be better called the vagus nerve gut-brain axis, more likely. I know it doesn't roll off the tongue as much, but the axis is the vagus nerve that connects the brain to the gut. So it's really important. And your vagus nerve carries signals up and down. So you have afferent signals that go up and efferent signals that go down to regulate peristalsis to move food. Typically, you see things like vagus nerve dysfunction can lead to peristalsis problems like gastroparesis, for one. So your vagus nerve controls essential processes such as swallowing, digestion, and nutrient absorption. So you can't absorb nutrients if your vagus nerve isn't working. Additionally, your vagus nerve helps regulate the production of stomach acid, digestive enzyme secretion, and gut motility. All of these things are controlled by the vagus nerve. So, pretty important, as you can hear, to maintain proper vagus nerve function, but also a good indication to understand if you're having issues with swallowing, digestion, enzymes, gut motility, it's more likely than not that you do have a vagus nerve issue. Now, what is one good way to eat that is supportive of a healthy vagus nerve? Because certainly we don't want everybody here to become dependent on digestive aids or other things like that. We certainly want to move in the direction of eating as healthy as possible. From a system point of view, it's really important that we try to follow a Mediterranean/green style diet. Now, that doesn't mean that you are not allowed to eat animal-based meats, but that does include maybe reducing or eliminating red meats like cow and pork, okay, like beef and pork. Those two things have a lot of potential for immunoactivating proteins in them, and those can exacerbate an unhealthy dysmotile gut. So in studies, now, and I posted the book that you can go read after this video called The Longevity Diet by Walter Longo, who is a professor of gerontology at UCLA and diet nutrition. And they found that after studying 20,000 people, so taking the data from 20,000 adults, that they found that those with the higher life expectancy, with the better health outcomes overall, were following a green Mediterranean plant primary diet. And, certainly eating, some people can have allergies to peanuts. Some people can have allergies to almonds or both, or gluten or whatever. So naturally, whenever there's a recommendation for food, especially to an audience like this, where the vagus nerve is compromised, it seems to reject and not digest a lot of food. Your allergies to foods can in part be a result of a compromised vagus nerve. So stimulating your vagus nerve, we'll talk about that later, can help you eat a more broader range of foods. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to evaluating a type of diet to select. But generally speaking, the Mediterranean diet is one of the best to choose when it comes to ways to eat that will let you live for a long time. So that's the key part here is trying to live for a long time. Now, research has shown that diet certainly plays a role in maintaining the health of the vagus nerve. Obviously, it's true for everything in your body. So the Mediterranean diet, renowned for its emphasis on whole foods, lean proteins, and healthy fats, has been linked to improved vagal tone. So when we talk about things like heart rate variability, you can improve heart rate variability by eating a primarily Mediterranean green diet. So that can be helpful. Now, a Mediterranean diet is inclusive of fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, and olive oil. These plant-based foods are rich in fiber, antioxidants, and phytochemicals, which have been found to support the health of the vagus nerve. Now, by consuming a variety of plant-based foods, individuals can promote a diverse gut microbiome, which positively influences vagal tone as well. So the microbiome makeup that you have in your gut can contribute to activation or deactivation of your vagus nerve. So it can actually be really crucial that you are trying to do your best to manage this in the best way possible. So, yes. Now, with any diet, it's not crucial to go crazy with it, okay? Don't change everything all at once. One time I did read that females have a tendency to adopt one diet to the extreme when they start. But we don't want to change our diets overnight. But there are ways to move gently into a plant-based diet to support your vagus nerve. So while in general, a plant-based diet and a Mediterranean-style diet that prioritizes lean proteins, olive oil, vegetables, legumes, and fruits is good. It is a solid foundation for vagus nerve health. Adopting a primarily plant-based diet can further enhance its benefits. So a plant-rich diet focuses on consuming foods derived from plants, such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds, while minimizing or eliminating animal products. So that would also include trying your best to eliminate dairy, cheeses, sour cream, different types of chips or snacks that have milk-based ingredients. Definitely you want to avoid whey protein supplements that can give you some additional protein, but different types of milk and dairy and lactose-based things can further cause dysbiosis in the gut. So doing your best to avoid milk, doing your best to replace it with other alternatives. One thing that I've done is I've eliminated milk from my diet, which I think has had a benefit, but also incorporating things like oat milk. So if some of you some of you are Costco members, Costco has a really good oat milk in a box, basically. So it's a one large box that contains 6 cartons of oat milk, and it costs around $10 for that huge box, and that's enough to supply you for probably about a full week of milk alternatives that are healthy and affordable, and it's really good too. So you can pour it into your milk, you can pour it into your cereal, you can pour it into coffee, you can use it as your creamer. So there's lots of ways to use oat milk today that can actually decrease your dependence on animal-based milks like cow's milk. A plant-based diet can also be naturally high in fiber, which supports healthy digestion to move food all the way through your gut, and supports the growth of beneficial gut bacteria that use fibers to break them down into butyrate. So butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid, which is also known as butyrate. I'll type that here in the chat. Short-chain fatty acids such as butyrate. Boop. I'm going to put that in the chat so you can at least see what it looks like. You can supplement butyrate by itself. So if you are naturally aversive to a lot of fiber, you can actually supplement with butyrate. Check your Fullscript account for that. There's definitely some good products that are high in butyrate. So butyrate has been shown to specifically enhance vagal tone and help reduce inflammation in the gut. So moreover, plant-based diets are typically lower in saturated fats and lower in cholesterol, which can contribute to, when you have them in high amounts, cardiovascular disease and will impair vagus nerve function. We all know about the damage that clogged arteries can have on parts of your body. But did you know that your vagus nerve has its own blood system? And if you're seeing blocking of arteries in your carotid artery or your plaque in your heart or different parts of your body like thrombosis or stroke type of things, just know that your vagus nerve has a very narrow blood system that's only 1 red blood cell wide. This is really important. So your vagus nerve has blood flow going through it, which gives your vagus nerve, which gives your vagus nerve blood and oxygen. But that narrow channel, that vein where the red blood cells flow, is literally only 1 red blood cell wide, which means that if there's any plaque buildup in your vagus nerve, then you're going to start looking at it's only a matter of time until your vagus nerve starts to have a blockage in the arteries, and then you're going to start to see damage to the vagus nerve. That is where you start getting into some really severe problems, especially. So it is important to watch what you're consuming, more so because, people typically think of these big veins, and they have plaque, but there's thousands of red blood cells traveling over that area, so it's not too big of an issue. I think, even my father had to go get, he's pretty old. He had to go get a plaque removed from his heart. So it's very common, or you get a stent, or you get something like that for your heart. But your vagus nerve is very susceptible to the buildup of plaque. And that's probably why a lot of people get vagus nerve dysfunction issues and develop autonomic conditions, is because of that plaque buildup. So reducing the intake of those harmful substances can support overall heart health and optimize vagal tone. So that's really key. And then last but not least, boom. So in conclusion, to kind of wrap this up today, and we'll talk about some resources in a moment, the vagus nerve plays a vital role in digestion, obviously, and maintaining its health is crucial for optimal digestive function. We know the benefits of a green Mediterranean-style diet that can provide a solid foundation for supporting vagal tone, and thanks to its emphasis on whole foods and healthy fats. However, a primarily plant-based diet takes a step further by promoting a diverse gut microbiome, reducing inflammation, and supporting cardiovascular health. By incorporating more plant-based foods into your daily meals, we can nourish our bodies and support the health of the vagus nerve. So let's embrace the power of plants and prioritize the digestive well-being through a plant-based lifestyle. Ideally, now you can make room for some lean meats, chicken, turkey, basically chicken, turkey, and fish. The best fish to have is wild-caught Alaskan salmon. Do not have farmed food. That's not a good idea. Don't do farmed animals, that are fish-based. Tuna can be good, but also tuna has a lot of mercury. So, anyway, if you guys have any particular questions about any of this, I'd love to take some questions. Now, here are some of the recommendations that I have for you that come from the book, The Longevity Diet. So let me just get the timestamp in here. Okay, so some of the recommendations that I can make that come from the Longevity Diet book itself is that in managing your overall health, that book actually didn't find in the research, in the literature, that people who were on a heavy supplement-based regimen had a better likelihood of survival compared to people on a Mediterranean diet. So ideally, according to the Longevity Diet, which is from UCLA, from Dr. Walter Longo, and the book is linked here in the chat. I'll put that in again for those who might have missed it. Let me just grab the link for it here. So I'm linking, the link is to the book, the Kindle version of the book, so you can digitally download it and read it. It's got a cookbook section. It's got a grocery list. It's got the science. It's got the recommendations. It even has an exercise section. So it's pretty comprehensive as far as a diet-based book is concerned. Also, they did find that this type of diet does support stem cell activation and regeneration. Now, if you're an active client in our phase 1 or phase 2 program, you know what we're doing with ultrasound to increase stem cell production already. So what a double whammy. If you can use ultrasound to target parts of the vagus nerve and parts of the body to increase stem cell production, but you're also matching it with a good diet, imagine the benefits that can come from that. The wellness benefits that can come from that can be substantial. Now, in that book, obviously, people are taking supplements. People are taking multivitamins. In the book, they found that most people are usually taking sometimes too many vitamins, too many pills, and that those people, those folks who lived a long, healthy life past 100, were not obviously dependent on 50 pills of supplements per day. Now, if you're dealing with a specific condition, it can be useful to take some supplements, but generally speaking, you want to get all of your nutrients from food that you eat, ideally. And that can come from, good fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, nuts, legumes, plant-based things, and lean protein. So like wild-caught Alaskan salmon contains a ton of really good things, blueberries, ton of good things. There's lots of things recommended in the book that are very helpful. There is one product called Monkai powder. I'll put that here in the chat. I'm going to timestamp it, which is 24:15 Monkai. So there's a specific type of powder, green-based powder, that I learned from this longevity diet, which I had never heard of before, and it's called Monkai powder. It's farmed in different tropical regions around the world. It's typically seen to be like, it's kind of water lettuce, basically. It's a very rich green, very small leaf, pond-dwelling plant. And they grow it in these large, huge ponds. It covers the surface like moss almost, but it's little tiny, like little clover leaves. It looks like clover. And they take that and they powder it up. And it stays very vibrant green once you powder it up. And it contains all of the essential amino acids, which is really remarkable for a plant. Most plant-based diets don't contain enough B12. They don't contain enough B vitamins. And they don't contain the full scope of amino acids that people need to build proteins and structures in their body. So if you go on a vegan diet, you typically do see people losing muscle mass and losing B12 levels, which can cause demyelination of the vagus nerve. So Monkai powder, if you can find it, is fantastic. It's better than like chlorella. It's better than spirulina. It's better than any of these green powders on the market, but it is difficult to find. So I would recommend that you do some searching to find a link to get it. The company that sells it, a French company in the United States, Seta, S-E-T-A. I'll put that here. Seta Foods sells it, right? So Seta Foods sells it. They're a French-Canadian company, and they sell the best form that's pure, but they go out of stock so much. It's very difficult to find. So if you can find it, I pat you on the back, or pat yourself on the back if you can find it. But that's a really good supplementary thing. But there's all kinds of good recommendations in the longevity diet. One other thing that they mentioned that I want to talk about here is called the Prolon approach. Okay, so in the book, The Longevity Diet, there's a section dedicated to something called the Prolon approach. Now, Prolon is basically a longevity diet plan that lasts for about 6 to 7 days. It involves eating. It's kind of like an intermittent fast where you're still eating food every day, so you're not starving yourself, but you're eating very lower calories in that time, and you kick off something called autophagy, which is where older cells in the body are cleaned and removed to be restored with fresh stem cells. And so the Prolon diet is a diet you can either order online or you can mimic it yourself. I do believe I actually have documentation on how to do the Prolon approach naturally at home. Let me just see, because if I did have this could be a really helpful resource. Give me a second. Prolon. I have to check my my Dropbox here. And I did remember that I had this. The Prolon. Let's see. All right, I'm going to share a link to a document that I've written that does talk about this diet at length. And so it's a document I've shared many times, and it does certainly does include some helpful tips. Let me just check here on my computer. I'm going to do a little search for Prolon. Not seeming to show up. Prolon diet. Yeah, I have a document that I typically share with clients, and I'm trying to find it. It's not hosted on my Google. It's a PDF that I give clients, so I don't have that available right now. But at some point, I'll probably put that out too. But the Prolon diet. Let me get this. I know they have a website for it. Prolon diet. So it's a fasting program where you pretty much purchase all the ingredients in a kit. It depends on eating like a salad, a soup, crackers, olives, a number of things you can eat when you're on this diet. So that's called the Prolon fast. That's going to be talked about a lot in the longevity diet and the science of it. They've experimented with it on a lot of conditions, a lot of autoimmune conditions, and it does leave people feeling really, really good, really, really healthy. So definitely something to check out. You can basically look up online how to do the Pearl on fast at home by yourself. It basically involves getting like a couple of soups, olives, crackers, a couple things, right? And there's a special thing you do, which is getting vegetable glycerin and pouring that in your tea and sipping on that, which gives you energy during your fast. It's a really cool thing that this guy discovered. So there's some really great benefits to it. It's very tea-based, very liquid food-based. And it's usually, I think, five days is the minimum for the Prolon diet. So something to look into, something that could be ultimately very, very helpful. Now, on the question of the multivitamins, so in the book, Dr. Walter Longo does recommend typically that you try your best to avoid becoming dependent on a ton of multivitamins and vitamins in general. So how does that generally look? Well, it involves taking a good high quality supplement, of course. But what I'm sharing here in the chat is something called the Physician's Elemental Diet. So let me just put that here in the timestamp. So the Physician's Elemental Diet is a powder-based food that's selected by physicians specifically, so by trained doctors and nutritionists, that is a full, complete meal replacement powder that actually tastes really good. It's actually one of the best powdered food things that I think I've ever had in my life. It tastes fine. It actually kind of tastes like drinking milk, and it dissolves in water really, really well. So from a multivitamin perspective, rather than seeking out one pill, because, you know, a big horse-sized pill, especially if you have digestion issues because of a compromised vagus nerve, we know for a fact now that a lot of these pills, these big multivitamins that are hard, you know, they have all the vitamins and minerals, will literally pass through your body without any absorption, which is bad. So the Physician's Elemental Diet is a scoopable powder that dissolves in water, and it's readily absorbed right in your stomach, right then and there. And it doesn't depend on food traveling through your intestines in order to get the nutrition. So for those who are in the program, who are in the full script, if you go to fullscript.com, log into your account under our Vagus Nerve program, you'll be able to go and purchase the Physician's Elemental Diet powder. Now, normally it's something like, you know, $135 for a large package, but because of the discount, you're going to be ending up saving about $43 off of that. So it should for a $135 bag, you should be getting it for close to $87, I believe, about that from my without taxes. But that's a really good deal because our full script account offers you 35% off. And as far as the best multivitamin would be this. You take that once every 3 days, 2 scoops. That one bag has so much powder in it that it could last you for 2 or 3 months on just that one bag. So if you hate the pill thing and you think you're taking too many, the Physician's Elemental Diet contains all of the vitamins and minerals that you need. You can technically survive just on the Physician's Elemental Diet. If you ate nothing else, you can survive. It is a full physician-approved meal replacement plan. So if you have digestive problems, oftentimes some of the things that make your digestion worse is dysmotility. There's one other recommendation I want to make as well, which is phosphatidylcholine from Solgar. So there is a type of... So, okay, when people have issues in their digestion, they tend to lose a lot of mucus. Okay? So your mucosa lining is made out of phosphatidylcholine. Okay? I'm going to put this here in the chat so you can read this or see it at least. So phosphatidylcholine from Solgar is a fantastic soft gel to take, which is something that replenishes the gut lining to give your gut some more space between the food and your intestinal lining. So it's very important that you do replenish through choline. Now, phosphatidylcholine is found in high amounts in egg. So egg contains the highest amount of choline per serving out of anything that you can eat. So that's why it can be helpful to sometimes incorporate eggs into your diet, maybe hard-boiled eggs, maybe scrambled eggs, as long as you're getting high-quality eggs. The yolk should be a bright red, not bright red, but a bright golden color. The yolk, the center part, if it's a discolored yellow, it's not a good quality egg. I've lived in places where you can drive on the side of the road and get 24 eggs freshly hatched or whatever, freshly minted from a chicken, from a hen, and you can go home and cook them, and they are the yolk on the inside is like gold. It looks like actual gold. That's the kind of good high quality egg that you could and should be taking. Now, if you're averse to eggs, one way to get a good amount of phosphatidylcholine to go to your gut, right, is going to be phosphatidylcholine. And a good protocol that I'm going to put in here that I found a lot of people like is protocol for phosphatidylcholine. Let's see. So there's a really good protocol for how to use phosphatidylcholine, is to take 7 of those pills every day for 7 days. So that'll use about half of the bottle up in 7 days. Now this is called high dosing phosphatidylcholine. That's going to replenish a lot of the mucosa lining in your gut, which is really important for the production of butyrate and makes your body more protected from any bad bacteria. If you didn't have any mucus in your gut lining, you actually lose the ability to absorb food. So that can be a portion of why vagus nerve damage is so dangerous, is because your vagus nerve transports phosphatidylcholine into the mucosa of your gut. And you can't make it naturally, so you have to get it from external sources. And this phosphatidylcholine is some of the best that you can get. Also, the price is right, you guys. I think that one bottle normally costs $20. Amazon, as far as I saw, is close to $14 right now. So it's a really good deal. It's a really high quality protocol. It's been used in that protocol that I'm reporting here. The 7 pills for 7 days has been used by people with Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, and IBS because it helps coat thick mucosa all over the gut. So I do recommend that for most people, is just to get that first dose and then wait for about 2 months and then do the other 7x7 again. And keep on doing that until you notice that, you're not losing a lot of gut or you don't have gut dysfunction. That can be really helpful. What else? Let's see. I think for the most part, that should cover it. So if you guys are watching on YouTube and you want the links to this, I highly encourage you to join us on the Facebook. All the links are posted in the Facebook chat, so you have the links for that. But you can always join. Of course, you can always join the Facebook group at any time. Just don't get yourself banned by posting spam, because we will permanently ban you with no backsies. So anyway, thanks guys so much for watching on YouTube. I am going to share the link to the Mediterranean diet resource here, and I'll sign off on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. Bye-bye. All right. Cool.